r/AskReddit. Siblings of narcissists, psychopaths or sociopaths. What's your experience? When I was 10, my mom put a lock on my door because my brother started threatening to kill me and my mom in the night. When I was 14, he fixated on my mom and threatened to burn down our house, shoot my whole family, and steal all the valuables and drive away. That same year, he was 17. He took our car and ran away from home for 2 weeks. We ended up calling the police on him. When he came home, the police decided that it would be best if he lived somewhere else, so he did. As we were cleaning out his room, we found hundreds of knives, a handgun, lighter fluid, gasoline and lighters. He sounds lovely. My daughter was hit by a drunk driver when she was 12 and nearly died. She was in a coma for 2 weeks and I was there all day every day, except to go home to shower and change. My sister decided that when I was at the hospital was the perfect time for her and her druggy girlfriend to jimmy the sliding door off the track, break in and steal everything she could find. Jewelry, my camera, and yes, my daughter's piggy bank. The beach stole the piggy bank from a comatose kid. Brother believes the world is his oyster and that friends and family and loved ones are his to control and exploit. He told a girl they are dating and she should buy him a car and take him out for dinner. Brother has also tried to burn down our childhood home thrice because mom didn't give him the things he wanted. We were poor and he knew that, but he honestly believes that he gets what he wants because that's how it should be. He also tried to sell my car. He still hounds me for the money he should have gotten if he sold it. Every story was progressively worse than the last. Holy shit. My sister has never been diagnosed with narcissism or a personality disorder other than OCD, but when we were younger she often enjoyed telling people before I met them that I had a difficult relationship with the truth so that they wouldn't want to be around me. I had the reputation of a liar and no friends for most of my preteen years, and she was popular in our homeschool group until she left and got into high school. After she left, I still didn't have friends, but neither did she, and she blamed me for it during her frequent temper tantrums. She would throw things, scream, cry, and threaten me with kitchen knives on a pretty regular basis. All of a sudden, the year that I turned 17 and she turned 21, the tantrums stopped and she got engaged. He moved in with us. The tantrums started again, and for once I wasn't the target. The worst fight they had happened when she caught him looking at a photo of a bikini model, which she considered cheating. She hit him full force with an open palm, and when our mum saw, she threatened to kick her out if she hit him again. They got married, moved out, and divorced within a year of him enlisting in the army. He had to get away, somewhere with less violence. When she threw a cup of hot tea at my face because I refused to show her something on the computer. Or the time when she yelled at me for over an hour because I was really sick and had thrown up all over the bathroom sink, the same bathroom she had just cleaned. I stopped speaking with her over 7 years ago. My sister did something similar. She pulled extremely hot refried beans out of the microwave, a big bowl, and poured it on me. I was probably 6 and she was 10. I got massive burns from that. Another time we were arguing over who was going to ride our shared bike and she got so mad she shoved the handlebar in my face and it knocked my 2 front teeth. I had to get metal caps over top of them and was so embarrassed. The sooner you can put distance between yourself and them, the better. My half-sister was 19 years old when I was born. Flipped her shit and told our mom that she was too old to be having kids and that she should put me up for adoption. That started our relationship, where she was vocal about not liking me. When our mom got terminal cancer and she made me medical proxy, because I was the only kid at home and was already a caretaker. Half-sister protested and said it should be her because she's eldest. She managed to make things about her and not our mom who was fighting ducking stage 4 cancer. When I gave the order, as per mom's verbal and written wishes, to disconnect life support, half-sis said I killed mom to inherit shit that was already mine. Haven't spoken to her in a decade and I plan on keeping it that way. Oh love, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I've had similar with my sister. The accusations of killing in order to inherit, and then the demands for access to bank accounts before the body was even cold. Really dark times, and it's best to get these sorts of people out of our lives, family or not. I was playing with a suitcase while watching TV. I was small enough to fit myself in it. My brother, nearly 4.5 years older than me, saw what I was doing and asked to zip me up in it. After already having learned to never trust him, I asked mom to watch us to make sure he didn't do anything stupid. He zipped me up inside the suitcase and started carrying it in a shuffle step. Thump, thump. I heard the sliding door to the enclosed patio open. Mum started screaming and I could hear her slapping my brother repeatedly. The suitcase fell over onto its side with me still in it. I managed to pry open the zippers from the inside and got myself out of the suitcase as quickly as possible. Mom was still slapping at my brother, screaming why. I was 2 feet away from being dumped inside a suitcase into the family hot tub. He laughed and said that I would have floated. What's the big deal? So, yep, that's what it was like growing up with a sociopath. They can make drama out of any situation and will try to drag you into it even years later. Example, I am the next to youngest. My whole family is a shit show. But when I was planning my wedding, I was still trying to pretend I had a reasonable family. My future husband's family was like Leave It to Beaver. So I asked both of my sisters to be bridesmaids. I knew this was a risk, but I hoped they could keep their shit together for a single evening. At the time, I thought they had. About 8 years later, we were in the same city because one of our brothers was in the hospital due to a bad car accident. We had one hotel room across the street from the hospital so people could go rest when they needed to. I was in that room with my oldest sister when she said, "You know, middle sister, stole wine glasses from your wedding, right?" I told her I didn't care. A couple of hours later, I was in that room with my middle sister. She said, "You know, older sister, stole glasses from your wedding, right?" I also told her I didn't care. So here we are, waiting to see if our brother was going to die, and both of these bitches are playing reindeer games with me, trying to make me be angry with the other one. Our brother lived. I've cut contact with all my siblings because they are all like this. They have to start shit no matter what the situation or consequences. Okay, so I am heavily surprised no one has commented on how amazing you are for this. 3 siblings that can't control themselves and you've managed to realize that early on and not turn out just like them. I don't really have any words to express how difficult that is for a lot of people who often blame their upbringings or families for how they have turned out, even late into adult life. Thanks for sharing this with us. It's interesting really. My mom died recently. When I called my sister to come down the day before she died, she said I thought she was going to die today. I'm not disappointed, but I can't keep missing work. The next day I called her to come to the hospital again as the doctor and I made the decision to take her off the ventilator. On the phone she said, "Well, can we pull out the tube as soon as I get there because I have plans tonight?" She also proceeded to ask me for rent money that day, as I also live with her. The things they say and don't realize how messed up it is really baffling. Damn, I feel bad every day about not being there for the moment my dad passed. I remember telling my mom I can't watch it on the phone and feeling like such a piece of shit. But hearing about people like this make me realize I had a more normal reaction than that at least. Lived an entire lifetime not being aware that it isn't normal to run to your bedroom and hide when dad gets home. That it isn't normal to be scared of your parents' reactions to, well, anything. Becoming a mom and having little kids that I just looked at and knew I could never beat them up for picking a flower, or shame them for not knowing how to hang a shelf, or throw grubs at them if they come outside, or throw potato salad at them if they say they don't want any. Yep, it wasn't normal and only just now am I realizing all of that. I know that pain, except it was my mom. Now that I'm an adult with a life of my own, I understand that my mom is just a product of her own upbringing. My grandma was abusive to her, but it doesn't excuse the fact that she copied her upbringing and pasted it to become my upbringing. Don't have kids of my own yet, but my friends' kids are like my nephews and nieces. Ages range from on the way to 6, and they are such amazing kids. My mom would yell at me for several minutes and tell me I don't amount to shit all because I do something like drop food out of the plate. These kids have dropped milk, on accident, of course, and of course I don't get mad at them. I just get flashbacks of getting beaten up for it and wonder why the duck did my mom ever have kids. I want to have nothing to do with him and his family. My parents can't cut ties with him and it breaks my heart how he treats them. You feel your life isn't your own. Everything will revolve around them, constantly causing drama and trouble. Sister who would steal from you. Never-ending drama. Tried to steal my boyfriend repeatedly. Actually broke into one sister's house and robbed her. Can't tell the truth ever. Disowned her about 10 years ago after her awful treatment of terminally ill mother. Peace since then. I haven't spoke to my brother in 3-4 years. Last time I did he went after my wife and that was the last straw for me. Since then, my parents have cut him off. He lost his job, and his life has spiraled. Not sure what he is up to now, but my quality of life has improved with him not in it. They're insane, and always mad about something petty. Somehow everything is related to their projected social image, regardless of context or content. They can create a story about what they want or not want to believe, then convince themselves it's true and hold you accountable for their ducked up image of you. I hated it. Growing up, she had total control of my life. She criticized what I wore, listened to, ate, everything. If I was different I was weird. If I liked what she liked then I was copying her. She tried to scare me multiple times with guns and knives, claiming she never would actually hurt me, but she would hold up a samurai sword to my throat and tell me if I moved I died. Eventually she had that kid when she was 19 and I was 16. And for a year she was a good mother and then decided she didn't want to be a mom anymore. I've seen her ruin countless people's lives, spanning from just stringing them along to drowning their bank accounts to contributing to them being put in jail for domestic abuse. She's still waiting for trial on her charge. I despise her and she is not family to me. I had so many issues growing up that only stemmed from things she did to me, and I don't want to see my niece grow up like that. My parents are doing a wonderful job of raising her, but she doesn't understand why mommy isn't there and it breaks my heart. It's better for the child to not have contact with her. Better an absent mom than a sociopath treating you like an object. Older brother. Highly narcissistic, same with my mother. Verbally cruel and manipulative and always project blame onto others, never acknowledging their own behavior. I do not speak with either over them. My brother for over 5 years and my mother for over a year. Brother was doted on as a child because he was gifted at basketball. Literally had no consequences growing up and could do whatever he wanted. Treated me and our parents like absolute crap and they still doted on him. While I would get the belt for the most benign and asinine stuff, my brother's life is absolute crap right now. He has no sense of self-worth and just gets handouts from my parents. He is in his late 30s and my parents are giving him money for rent and food. He wants everyone to feel sorry for him and expects everything to be handed to him. He can't do anything on his own and guilt trips and manipulates my parents into doing whatever it is he needs doing for him or just giving him extra funds. He has no incentive to change and is content playing video games all day while my parents just enable his lifestyle. At holidays he just talks down to me and tries to make me feel bad about how difficult his life is. I could care less about him and have no desire to talk to him until he makes some serious changes in his lifestyle and life choices. It's always difficult to share my problems with them because they also had that same problem at some stage of their life and it was much harder for them than that is for me apparently. My sister has dialed down her act a bit after we have all spent a few years out of our aging NPDA whole father's house. I mostly remember a massive sense of entitlement that simply made no logical sense and would require a great deal of cognitive dissonance to explain. Like, she would never loan me things, CDs, EXE, but had no problem walking straight into my room, in front of my face, to take a bottle of body lotion to use on herself. She seemed to have no remorse for what her behavior did to others, so long as she got what she wanted out of the deal. Sometimes, she would just do and say mean and spiteful things for no reason. I talk to her from time to time. While is less of a self-involved sociopath, she still is insufferably self-righteous. Mom. Narcissist dad. Alcoholic. Possible narc. Self-centered coward. Brother. Golden child me. Family scapegoat. Still working through the BS and healing at age 57. It can be done. He never got a diagnosis, but he's good at deceiving. He always just tried to get all the attention. Cried to get me punished, so he could spend more time playing with my PlayStation. I saved my money for myself. I ended up being the black sheep. My mom constantly threatening to call Child Protective Services. If I wouldn't have been so unknowing, I would have preferred that he was always sick and he was always the victim. So much that they ended up forgetting me at home when they went to my grandparents and didn't realize it until they heard me crying alone at night behind a couch. There is a lot of ducked up stuff I'm not including, but it wasn't just emotional terror. He willfully abused the whole relationship to my family, so we started to estrange one another. I confronted him a lot, so years later he's on a different route and tries to be himself rather than a victim. I still don't want to be around anyone here. It burns on my skin to even get near, but it's not as bad as being in the situation and having to deal with it. My dad is as much of a narcissist as it gets. I didn't realize that it was abnormal until I moved out of the house and out of state. When I finally came back, I remember him calling me one day to tell me to give him $10 because he claimed he need to grab something to eat. Sorry, but I don't have $10 to give you. You don't have $10 to give your dad? Come on, I'll pay you right back. I just need it to go down to the store so I can eat. I don't have it. So you'll have to put on your big boy pants and make some money for yourself. Well, I was gonna ask your sister, but I don't wanna ask her because she's my daughter, you know? I hung up after that. A few minutes later he calls me and says, hey, your sister just sent me the $10. See, it wasn't that hard. A couple months later I heard that he was still asking my sister for money, and then on my sister and my brother-in-law's anniversary he called and basically blew her up over the phone when she said no, to the point where she was crying on that day off all days. And then he finally said, so you're just gonna let your dad freeze to death outside tonight? My brother-in-law told him not to ever call them again, and I haven't heard from him since. He honestly thinks he is super popular and a good person, but he isn't. I blocked his number and want nothing to do with him anymore. Back to the question though, it's really weird because you end up growing to either be just like them or completely the opposite. I've had to grow up on my own and not be able to have a father figure to show me how to be a man and make smart decisions, or how to be a leader of a household. These are things that I think many people take for granted and don't fully realize how great they have it by having both parents in the house and have them not be completely focused on themselves. I always envy the people that still get to live with their parents into their 20s. I moved out when I was 18 and I'm almost 30 now, and I wish every day that I had the ability to still live at home and not have to worry about rent, utilities, car payments, insurance, gas, phone, internet, etc. My dad is a sociopath. He raised me. It's very difficult having basic friendships, relationships, holding a job. The way I was raised is extremely unconventional, leading me to not react to normal situations as a typical person would. I hope username doesn't check out. I don't think you have anything to worry about. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.